Belle, and thank you again for watching another episode of the Divorcee Diaries. So today, I actually really want to highlight my city. So as some of you or most of you may know, I am born and raised in Seattle, Washington, and I still live here. And recently, as things began to reopen during the pandemic, I've gotten to do a lot of touristy things that I haven't done in a long time. So I was able to do a lot of that as we began to reopen from COVID, and we're starting that process now. And as you can see, there's a lot of remnants from my birthday that just happened yesterday. I'll just tell you when I'm doing this video. So that's all great. And actually, one of the places I want to highlight today is where I went to dinner for my birthday, which is at the Space Needle, which is very exciting. It was a lot of fun. They were only doing their drinks on the deck opportunities for this summer or since COVID, and they won't be continuing it after Father's Day, after the 20th of June. So you know, I felt really good about being able to do that and be able to go for my birthday, especially because they're not going to be continuing this over the summer. So it might come back in September, they said, but we're not sure. So anyhow, I would like to start off by sharing 4 of my favorite things to do in Seattle. And luckily, they're all within a walkable distance from each other. If you did it all in one day, you'll be able to see some of the best attractions, in my opinion, of the city. So with that, let's get into my favorite places in Seattle. So the first place I would recommend going to, or want to highlight today, is of course the Space Needle. So the Space Needle got renovated most recently, and it's no longer this big restaurant that rotates on the top floor and the observation deck. It's on observation deck and the rotating floor that was a restaurant that is now open for everyone to view and see. You don't have to pay a premium, which is really great. So I recommend going there bright and early. Get your tickets ahead of time. That's going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to save you a lot of headache later on too. Because if you don't get there early enough, you might not be able to get a ticket until later in the afternoon or the evening. So don't do that to yourself. Also, if you're able to go earlier, which is what I recommend, you'll be able to beat most of the lines. Because honestly, we got our ticket, I think, like around noon or 11 or noon, and it was a long line even then. So the sooner you go, and we bought this ahead of time, so the sooner that you're able to go and get your ticket, be in line to the Space Needle, the better you're going to be. And of course, these are lines that could be due to COVID. Who knows? I'm not quite sure how the lines were, but the lines were wrapped around the Space Needle. So get there early. I also want to say with the Space Needle, as you can see, it's the views. The views are just gorgeous. They're the best views that you're gonna get in the city, that are perfect 360 views that you'll get of everywhere. The Olympic Mountains, Cascade Mountains, you'll be able to see, especially on a clear day if you can, and specifically in the summer because it's the best time to go. You're just gonna get the best views of the water, of Puget Sound, of Elliott Bay, of South Lake Union. You'll just be surrounded by greenery, buildings, and water and mountains. It's all the best things. And if you feel so inclined, go and have a drink or two and some eats there too. The food was pretty good. Also add in the Chihuly Glass and Garden Museum. Get those 2 together because it's so good. It's the Chihuly Glass Museum and the Garden. It's amazing. It's my favorite museum in Seattle, honestly. And of course, you have the Seattle Art Museum. It's always great, but it's just different with the Chihuly Museum. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Chihuly, he is a local treasure, a local artistic treasure, and mainly his medium is glass blowing. So there's these beautiful glass blown pieces of art that just, they're so colorful and they're so unique and amazing, because you also get to learn how this glass is blown, and you can see live glass blowing there as well, which is fantastic. There's also some canvas art that he's done that's also on display, which is very nice as well, and some more physical textile art displays that are also there as soon as you enter. So it's really beautiful, it's grand. If you love color as well, I highly recommend going. It is really a beautiful sight to see. And it's not only inside this museum, there's also this beautiful garden area that you can really appreciate. And from what I've heard, it looks beautiful and different from the daytime as well as nighttime, because the light at night emits a different vibe, which I think is really great. So I haven't been there at night yet, but it's certainly on my to-do list. But those two together, the Space Needle and the Chihuly Art and Glass Museum, I believe it is, are definitely places that I would say you need to go to. So let's say after your morning trip to see the views from the Space Needle, you go down to the Chihuly Glass and Art Museum. But what you can also do is just walk a few blocks down towards the bay. You'll be able to see beautiful free sculptures all around the sculpture park, which is also an extension of the Seattle Art Museum. But what I love about the sculpture park is that when you walk down there, you are just greeted by all of this beautiful, beautiful big art. And I'm a big art fan, so if you love that too, it's great. If you're not even a big art fan, it's a beautiful place to maybe go grab a sandwich and have a picnic, impromptu picnic there. Usually when it's not COVID in the mix, there have been shows. They have a little amphitheater there, an outdoor amphitheater, and they also have different interactive structures happening over the summer or during time pre-COVID, but it's a little bit different now. But the views that you get too, because you're right along the water, are just magnificent. And it's actually right next to the pier, all of what's along the pier. So it's a really great place to just go, sit, admire, the scenery, being right there, seeing all the ferries depart and come back. It's really a beautiful, calming place to be. And if you love art, it's free art. You don't have to pay for that. So go check out the sculpture park. And lastly, the other area that I would recommend going to, that I was very, very happy to experience in Seattle more recently, has been the Smith Tower Bar. So they have the Smith Tower Observatory and Bar is I believe what it is. And it is amazing, y'all. So the Smith Tower is looking in Pioneer Square. You can easily get to the Smith Tower building from the sculpture park even, actually. So if you walk down the pier, admire everything along the pier, admire the Fisherman's Wharf, or the kind of pier fishermen, the piers, experience all of the different restaurants and shops, and all of that. You'll walk past the Seattle Aquarium, and hotels and things like that, and it's great. And you just keep walking down. By the time you get to the Pioneer Square area, you just take a left and right up into 2nd Avenue, which is just 2 blocks from the waterfront. You will be at the Smith Tower. And at the Smith Tower, when you enter, it kind of looks like the Great Gatsby scene, like lots of gold fixtures and ornateness looking things that are reflective of what I feel like is a Great Gatsby-esque feel. So that's really exciting. So I would recommend going there right when they open. That's what I recommend, because that's the only time that you can buy tickets is right in person when you do it. And I would recommend going early so you can beat the crowds. And that way you can also get a better seat. In my opinion, I think you can get a better seat. So if you go in, you buy your ticket right at the front, right when you enter the hallway, then the host will take you on one of the open elevators and take you up to the observatory floor, which is almost the top floor. And then you'll get seated at your table, and then you'll be allowed to go at your leisure, just go out and observe the deck, which is the perimeter of the outside perimeter of the bar, which is really good. So I will say the bar has some beautiful, wonderful cocktails. Highly recommend them. Again, it's like a Great Gatsby mixed with a Chinese feel, and you can kind of see that in some of the pictures. And if you ever go, I don't know exactly the history there, but it's really, really cool. And then go outside and enjoy the 360 views again of Seattle from a different perspective. And what's really nice is too, they have little placards that are at each corner where it says, oh, like what this building is, and this, you'll see this building and the history behind that building and whatnot. So it's also a little more historical that way, which I really appreciate, because that's not something that the Seattle Space Needle has when you're up there and what you're seeing. Again, this is all of the things that you can do while you're in Seattle, or just do on a day that you have for free. For myself, I did not do all of these things all on the same day because I live in Seattle, but you could easily do all of these things if you're visiting Seattle and you need an itinerary. Well, here you go, and you're welcome. And if you haven't visited Seattle yet, I highly recommend it. So thank you all so much for joining me yet again today on the Divorcee Diaries. Please make sure to leave a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. And subscribe if you haven't already. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Mwah. See you until next time.